This is a story about a fellow who dared to discover a wife and a life in Wichita, Kansas. It's a story about how I fell for a girl the first time I saw her when she walked on stage at Wilner Auditorium. The spring of my freshman year, I'm in the audience, it's Hippodrome. Many of you, or most of you, know what Hippodrome is, but the sororities and fraternities put on 30, 35-minute shows that satirize life on campus. In between these 30 or 35-minute shows, there's a 10 or 15-minute gap where they need to fill the time with something, and students perform what they call in-between acts. I'm in the audience, a newly minted fraternity boy, 18 years old, and a quartet of girls come out and do kind of a white girl's Diana Ross and the Supremes. And the lead singer, with her high heels, must have been about 6'5", and she is wearing a paper dress, which were really popular for about an hour in the 1960s. And they, they're all kind of Peter Max dresses, the kind of thing that Goldie Hawn might have worn on Laugh-In. She looks spectacular, and I'm saying to myself, what an idiot I am. I'm a theater major. I know the stage crew. If I'd known this girl was going to be out there in that paper dress, I could have had it backlit. She starts to sing, and I am mesmerized. I turn to the guy next to me, and I say, who is that tall girl? And he must have gone to Capon. Because this guy said instantly, her name is Marnie Tashiff. She went to Mount Carmel. She has a serious boyfriend up in Lawrence. She's way out of your league. You should forget her. Well, clearly she was out of my league, but there was no way I was going to forget her. But then I didn't see her again for 2 years. In the summer before my senior year, June of 1969, I'm in this god-awful class I had to take to get a license to teach English, called Transformational Grammar. I'm sitting in this class right before it starts, and Marnie Tashiff walks in. Now, the bad news was she was not wearing the paper dress. The good news, she was wearing 1969 jean shorts, which are really short. She sits down next to me across the aisle, which is the reason why I had to take Transformational Grammar twice, because she was right next to me. And after class, I go up to her and I say, I remember you from when you were on stage in that in-between act. I introduced myself, and in 5 seconds, I knew I was talking to the nicest, sweetest, prettiest girl I could imagine. So I did the right thing. I immediately asked her out. I said, I'm going to play this weekend. It opens Thursday night. Come to the opening night cast party, which was going to be held at the Wichita version of Sardi's, which was called the Embers. So she looked at me when I asked her out, and she smiled and said, no, I will not go out with you. I have a serious boyfriend up in Lawrence. But you know what? We can be friends. The F-bomb. So I said, okay, we'll be friends. Myself, I'm saying we'll be friends. A half a loaf is better than an empty basket. I can charm her. And in 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of me being charming and witty and funny, she'll have no boyfriend in Lawrence, she'll have a boyfriend in Wichita. That did not work. I asked her out twice a week for a year, never got a date. I got to be friends with her. I had lots of iced tea with lots of ice for a lot of days. I met her family, I met her brother, her 2 sisters, I met her sweet mother. I even met, a couple times, her father. Now, maybe some of you in this room met and knew Jim Tashiff. He had a voice, a baritone bass that James Earl Jones only wished he had. I called out there one time. Marnie was living that time with her parents out on what used to be the country on North 29th and Oliver. I called, and this voice answered the phone and said, hello. I said, he sounded like, imagine Sam Raimi pissed off. That's what he said. Hello. I said, is Marnie there? And he said, Yes. He didn't say, yes, Marnie, or yes, I'll get her. I could hear him still breathing. I said, well, can I talk to her? He said, oh, a follow-up question. In May of 1970, we graduated in line together. Stone Tashif. I walked across the stage at Henry Levin Arena and turned around and said, would like to go out for a celebration? No, I've got a serious boyfriend. Okay. I didn't see her again that summer. I signed a contract to teach school in Chicago, to be a high school drama teacher and a ninth grade English teacher. And that September, I wrote her a note. She was teaching school here. I wrote her a note and said, I'm going to be back in Kansas over Thanksgiving. I fly into Wichita on Wednesday night. Why don't we get together Wednesday night before Thanksgiving? Knowing that I would get a letter back saying no. Well, I get a letter back in a week and it says, big news. I have broken up with the boyfriend. And I've met a wonderful guy. And we're going to get married and I want you to come to the wedding. I said at that point, I said, no, I won't come to the wedding. Best of luck. And I grew up. I got over Marnie Tashif. I finished teaching school in Chicago. I was a terrific high school drama teacher. I was a miserable ninth grade English teacher. I had a hard time getting inspired about Silas Marner when I was a ninth grader and later on. You know you're not a very good English teacher when ninth graders say to you, do we have to do what we want to do again today? Won't you teach us something? So I went to New York, what I always wanted to do to be an actor, and I was very lucky. I'd been in New York 5 days. I had no agent. I went into an open call for an off-Broadway revival of the American classic Tobacco Road, and I got cast. And I got my equity card, which I thought would take me a year or two. I got it in 5 days, and what I found out with my actor's equity card, I was allowed to bartend in any of the 5 boroughs in New York. I had a career in New York. Basically, I'd get in a play and I was doing Barefoot in the Park in Shreveport and Arsenic and Lace in Huntington, West Virginia. And finally, I got a job where it was a live show in schools with all kinds of audio-visual equipment, where you interacted with film and slides. And I started working for this company, and then I left that company and started the business doing the same kind of thing for industry, and had a nice career. In the mid-1970s, I met a wonderful woman, fell in love, fabulous family, and in 2009, after 30 years of marriage, my wife passed away from cancer. In 2011, in December of 2011, I'm following the Shockers. I'm in my winter home in West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm following the Shockers online, and once or twice a week I'd go on to Kansas.com. One day I go to the Eagle online, and the big story is the passing away of Rich Feliet. I did not know Rich, I never met him. But I'm reading the story, and it talks about all the great things he did, how he kind of started Old Town, and he had great restaurants, including the one right below us, the Looking Glass. And then it says, as I read the obit, or the story, it said, survived by his wife of 41 years, Marnie. I went, oh my God, that's my old friend. She's terrific. This is a terrible thing. And I thought about it, and I sent her a condolence note and a small donation to Botanica. And then, full disclosure, I put a line in my condolence note that I was a widower. And so I knew a little bit about what she was going through. And a friend of mine said, my God, aren't you crossing some kind of unspoken bereavement barrier here? Aren't you taking a Hallmark moment and hitting on a widow? I said, no, I don't think so. Then I get a thank you note back from Marnie. And I start thinking about Marnie. And I start thinking, yes. So then, sometime around February, I go online to Google, and I type in, how long do you wait to ask a widow? You would not believe the crap that you get. The best thing was an actuarial chart. It said, if widow is 21, you wait 1 year. 101, you wait 1 hour. I did the math. And I said, well, that's 137 days for me. On April 21st, I decided to reach out to Marty. I didn't have her email address. I sure as hell was not going to telephone her. What if her dad was still alive? You again? Someone told me that you could message somebody on Facebook that no one else would know. So I sent her a message saying, hi, I'm going to be in Wichita. This is 2012. I'm going to be in Wichita May 19th, 20th, and 21st. Next month. If you have time, 1 hour. Just you have 1 hour. I would love to see you. It's not a date. It's just 1 hour. We could have a Coke. We could have a drink. We could have lunch. I would love to see you. We have this in common, and it'd be great to see you. Here's my email address. I get an email back the next day saying, that sounds great. May 21st works best. Monday. The Monday before Memorial Day. That sounds great. I had no fucking plans to be in Wichita. So I make plans. Then this has got a little. I made a series of errors here happen. I decided to be the guy and kind of be in charge of where we go. So I said, well, why don't we, for old time's sake, have a shredded ham sandwich at the Cedar? She wrote back. She said, that's not going to work. I said, well, how about what could go wrong with those onion rings and that bacon burger at the Lazy R? And she said, it's been 42 years since I've been in town. I said, well, always a winner is the almond chicken at Albert's. She said, you need to know a few things. A lot of these places are closed, and you mentioned ham, beef burger, bacon, almond chicken. I'm a vegetarian. I thought, I'm glad you stopped. I was about ready to suggest the Stockyard Steakhouse. She said, 5 o'clock, May 21st, Mike's Wine Dive. I said, oh, good, Mike's Wine Dive. Wine dive. Oh my God! In Wichita, I'm going to have to join a club and get those little coupons. Things out. I'll have the Pinot Noir, but chilling in the skies. 5 o'clock, May 21st. I'm sitting at Mike's Wine Dive, and Marnie Tasha walks in, who I had not seen in 42 years. She was still beautiful, still tall. She wasn't 22. She was 64, and it was terrific. We only had an hour. We talked about things that you talk about. We exchanged pictures of our grandkids. We talked about our own personal losses. And at the end of the hour, I was walking in the car, and I said, I want to see you again, but I'm not going to be a pest. I know what you do with pests. And she said, well, how about next Monday night, Memorial Day? You want to see each other then, too? Now, my flight was scheduled to fly out of Kansas City on Sunday. I said, sure, Monday works fine. So I spent the week in my hometown and looking at all the sites in Beloit for 5 or 6 days. And on Monday night, we met at Yaya's on Memorial Day night. And that's what we really talked about, our lives and our past. The owner came by, said hello, and then went out to the patio where he saw the Hessies and Elrics and told them that Marnie had a date, which caused a lot of traffic going through. I said to her, this is a date. Between when I first asked you out and when you said yes, there were 8 fucking presidents. 3 of them had served 2 terms. 500 months. 15,000 days and nights. I said to her, I remember everything about the first time I saw you. You came down stage right. You sang some song. You were wearing that paper dress. But you know what? I don't remember what song you sang. And she looked at me and she said, and this is true, she said, the name of that song is You Can't Hurry Love. Now, we all know that song. It came out of the Brill Building in New York, meant for Diana Ross. Phil Collins did a terrific cover of it a few years ago. It's not Stephen Sondheim, it's not Cole Porter, it's not even bad Elton John, but I'll tell you what, it works. Mama said, you can't hurry love. You just have to wait. Love don't come easy. It's a game of give and take. You can't hurry love. You just have to wait. You have to think of all the good times, no matter how long it takes. How many heartaches do I have to stand before I find the love that will let me live again? Well, I was through waiting. I said, what do you do the rest of the summer? What's your schedule like? And she said, well, I'm going to be in Allentown, PA, working, and then I'm going to be in New York on June 15th, 16th, and 17th, and then I have a job in Switzerland. I said, I didn't even have to do my John Levitt's lie thing. I said, I am going to be in New York on Friday, June 15th. I have a meeting with Godiva Chocolate. And you're going to be where? She said, I'm going to be in Allentown. I'll take the bus in to see my sister. I'm going to spend the weekend with my sister. I said, I understand, but I'll see you Friday night. Okay? Friday night, June 15th, I met Marnie at the single most romantic place you can meet somebody in New York. No, not the duck pond at Central Park. Not the top of the Empire State Building or the ice rink at Rockefeller Plaza. Not even a cozy table for two at La Bernadette. I met her in the bowels of the Port Authority bus station at 39th and 8th Avenue. Never has the aroma of diesel bus fuel smelled so nice. And on Memorial Day, 2013, 1 year exactly to Mike's Wine Dive, Marnie Tashif dared to discover to be Marnie Stone. Thank you. Thank you, Marnie. I love you too.
Does it get any better than that? Oh my gosh, dude. Fantastic. Well, first of all, thank you. I think we'll remember this forever. It was just fantastic.